All right, this next segment is just so cool because these next tools just make such a difference, and just, well, let's just show you. Let's go down here and find a different file. Now, we're going to go back and work on these sunglasses file from this shoot, but what I want to do now is I'm using some different images to just help best explain what each of the sliders do, and then we're going to apply these in just a little while. So let's go ahead and open up this image. So this image has got a couple of issues that we could deal with. Of course, it looks like it's a little underexposed. And if you're wondering if it's underexposed, you can look and see how huge the gap is up here in the histogram. So we can bring that up a bit, and we could bring up the blacks just a little bit too. But even when we've done that, the sky is still kind of just a pale blue. The color of the bridge is just kind of pale. It's just not really happening. If we were to go and we want to make it, more punchy, you'd go to the saturation slider. The problem with the saturation slider is it makes everything look kind of goofy. Saturation slider always makes everything look too green and too red and just too funky in general. So we generally don't use the saturation slider. In fact, since they came out with the Vibrance slider, which you see right here, I don't use saturation at all. In fact, the only time I would use saturation is to take away color, but never to add. All right, instead, here's what Vibrance does. I'm going to try to explain it to you. Because it's got like a lengthy explanation, but once I show it to you, it'll make sense. What the Vibrance slider does is there are already colors in here that are pretty vibrant, like the greens. It kind of affects them the least. There are colors back here that are not very vibrant, and the bridge colors are not very vibrant. It affects those the most. But when it comes to flush tones, it's built to where it kind of tries to avoid affecting flush tones. It affects flush tones the very least. So it's a very, very smart slider. So I'm going to increase the vibrance a little, and watch, you'll see the greens get a little greener. The background get more punchy. The sky get more blue, but not clowny looking. It looks realistic. Take a look. So I just pump it up a little. See that? Take a look. See the sky? Look at this. Here, I'll have to move it for you. Sky gets bluer. The background gets more saturated. It all looks better. Look at the sky, look at the bridge as I move this back and forth. It gets better, but it doesn't get crazy. All right, take a look at the difference right there. So from here to here. It's realistic. It's more vibrant. It's really well named. It's more vibrant, but without being goofy. So that's what the Vibrance slider does. While we're here, let's also look at another important slider, and this is the Clarity slider. You may have heard it referred to by me as the Make My Photo Look Better slider. It's just an amazing thing. What it does is it basically increases the sharpness, the apparent sharpness in the mid-tone areas. So it's not an unsharp mask kind of thing, but let's just zoom in a little and we can see. Let's go. This actually works best if you can get this thing up to about 100%. You can really see what it's doing. So let me just kind of move down here a little bit. And by the way, when you see me moving when I'm zoomed up like this, you see how that all of a sudden got the grabber hand without having to go up there and grab it. You just hold the space bar, and whatever tool you have switches to the grabber hand. All right, so let me kind of go over here. We can get a good view of this. So I'm going to move clarity way up so you can really see what it does. So I'm going to drag it all the way like to 100 and back so you can see. Watch. See, everything just kind of just goes, ooh, it just kind of snaps to. So it does kind of almost have a bit of a sharpening effect. When Adobe was actually working on this, they called it punch originally because it just adds like punch to the photo. And it's perfect for photos like this. My range, the range that I personally wind up using this in, is between 25 and generally 50. If it's an image that's got a lot of real well-defined edges and stuff, I might go a little bit higher. But, the higher the number, the more punch it's going to have. And you have to figure out, is this the kind of image that I want to have a lot of punch? Let me back off a little so you can see. If you want to back out of your image, press Command minus. All right, Command minus on Mac or Control minus on PC, and then Control plus to zoom in and Command plus. All right, so let's go to 50% and watch the difference here as you can see. Look how it just makes the whole photo just kind of snap to. All right, so that's what Clarity does. So here's the thing. You see it best at 100%. If you want a quick way to get to 100%, I don't know if you remember me telling you earlier. If you double-click on the hand tool, it's fit in window. And if you double-click on the zoom tool, then boom, it jumps you right directly to 100%. So that's really the best place to see the effects of Clarity. All right, now, So just to kind of recap what we've done so far, because thus far we've pretty much covered everything but one slider contrast. We've looked at setting your white balance first. We're going to avoid the auto because it usually doesn't work very well. We're going to use the exposure, then set the recovery if we have some blown out highlights. We don't here, so we don't have to worry about it. We can use our blacks to bring us back into some, let's zoom back out, bring us back some saturation in the shadows. Brightness kind of acts as our midtones. Clarity is what's going to give our image some snap and punch. And vibrance is what we're going to do to make the colors more vibrant. So these are the main controls we're going to use. These are the things that we're going to use again and again and again. If we want to see the image before we made any changes in this panel, we can turn off the preview just like this. And look at the difference we made with just those simple little changes. Now, there are other controls and other things that we have not gotten to up here. One I do want to mention is this little button right up here. This button right here to the right just takes you to a full screen view to where it takes over your whole screen. But you also can't move the window anymore too. It literally takes over your whole screen. So if you're going to use that, just realize the title bar goes away. You're not going to be able to really move the window if you want to get to something behind it or anything. It's stuck right there. All right. There's still a lot more in Camera Raw that we're going to look at, but we're not going to go into every single thing in Camera Raw. There's whole areas that we're not going to go into because they're the areas you're probably not going to use that much. And so we're going to focus on just the things that you're really going to use in your everyday digital photography.